Well, hello again, and welcome to Something to Talk About, another episode of Something to Talk About, brought to you by a good friend, Irving Chung, who is a franchise consultant. Irving Chung at bigconsideration.com. If you have ever thought about, maybe I'd like to have a franchise, contact Irving at bigconsideration.com. You can get a free consultation and just say, hey, I don't know whether I got the money to get into franchising. He might show you that maybe you can. And you don't have to do it on a full-time basis. You can do it part-time from the convenience of your own home. Call our good friend Irving and check it out. And speaking of franchises, I think that's a good segue into our guest this morning. Vaughn is out of town, my co-host. So I've invited Patrick Walker from Expedia Cruises to join me as a co-host this morning. Welcome, Patrick.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we talked about our mutual friend Irving Chung as a sponsor of the show, and he is a guru of franchising. Expedia Cruises is actually a franchise, isn't it?
That is exactly true. And to top it off, I didn't know Irving back then, but I used the same type of service when I bought this one, and they were able to save me a little bit of money, like Irving says he can do for his customers.
Yep. And it's well worth it, because it could be that you get into a franchise and you say, goodbye to your boss, and I don't need to work for you anymore because I'm going to work for me. But I want to reiterate to people that might be watching and listening to the show too, that you don't necessarily have to give up your day job. That there are franchises out there, from bookkeeping services to a part-time pest control companies. Irving has mentioned that to me, that you can get involved in for very little out of pocket and become a franchise and start that way. You don't have to go out and buy that restaurant franchise that's going to involve all day and all night. You can even get an Expedia franchise if you want, but not in Frisco, because that's what Patrick Walker is doing. Patrick, I'm thrilled that you joined me today, because there's been a lot of talk we're in the circles that I go to about people finally saying, do you think it's safe to travel again? Because you've had to put almost your entire business on hold for a year and a half because A, it wasn't safe. B, you put people on a cruise ship, and they're going to be sitting side by side, and everybody's going to be masked. They say, I'll just wait. What was it like going through the pandemic to try and show people that there were still some vacation capabilities?
Well, for the first half of it, I worked nonstop, just helping people with getting their money back, sitting on hold with the cruise lines and airlines for hours at a time. So I never quit working. I kind of quit getting paid, but I never quit working.
That's a bad trade-off.
That's a bad trade-off, but it's one of the benefits of using a travel agent. I worked hard for the customers and got them rebooked. And then for the last 4 months, I was sending people that were ready to go to Mexico and Turks and Caicos, all inclusives down the chain. And now last Tuesday, Captain Kate took the Celebrity Edge out of Port Everglades for the first cruise out of the U.S. in 15 months. I watched that live stream, so that was fun.
And is it generally now, that the cruise lines, are they still following some kind of masking or social distancing procedures on board some of the ships?
Oh, absolutely. It's not brutal, it's intense what they're doing, not so much for the customer facing, all the training they had to do. They took a lot of cabins out and made extra medical facilities if somebody does test positive. It's in the short term, it's 100% vaccinated, with the little exceptions in some states. And I'm not going to give any advice on that because it changes every 10 minutes.
Right.
But, they are over the top careful because they can't afford to this happen to their industry again. And the 4 or 5 people I've known that are cruised already felt 100% safe. One cruise ship actually had 2 kids, the unvaccinated kids, test positive. Nobody else got it. So the procedures they have in place are amazing and they work.
Not only the cruises, but I want to emphasize to those that are listening and watching that Patrick is not involved in just cruises, even though it's expediacruises.com, and we'll give you the website and everything, because if you want to check it out, and I urge you to, expediacruises.com/Frisco in order to reach Patrick. But while the business and the name over the door says Expedia Cruises, you can handle requests for land, sea, air, all inclusives, all kinds of vacation possibilities. Correct?
Oh yeah, if you want to climb Mount Machu Picchu and see those ruins, if you want to go to the Galapagos and see the sea turtles, Antarctica, there's just a ton of stuff out there.
And that's something that people, I think, are starting to get the taste for. They're saying, you know what? I have really learned what cabin fever is all about, and it's not a room on a cruise ship. It's been sitting in my own home for a year and a half, and now I want to get away. And I think it's safe to say that people can contact you, because if they want to just take a weekend trip, or to get away, to go someplace within their own state, or want to fly someplace for a long weekend, or they want to go on a cruise, that it's opening up. But having said that, aren't you finding that there's lots of things that are starting to sell out very, very quickly?
Oh yeah, there's one particular river cruise company. Their 2022 stuff is pretty much already sold out. There's going to be a supply issue next year. The cruise lines took a few cruise ships to the boneyard and the cabin fever, and you put those two together, and there might be a little bit of inventory problem next year. So the whole supply and demand thing. And we have people booking their cruises all the way into 2023 already.
No kidding. Which is not a bad idea, because for those people that are thinking right now, I don't know whether I'm ready to board that ship and everything, don't worry about 2021. Start looking at 2022 and as you say, even 2023, because there could be savings for booking now for something in the future, correct?
Correct. If the inventory thing becomes an issue, it's just like the airlines. The prices are going to go up. You book now, you lock in that price. And so absolutely.
Because I get your emails, and I also, you see the pop-ups on Facebook and everything that you can get on a cruise ship now and go cruising in the Caribbean for a week or so for under $300 a person.
Those days are a little bit iffy right now. The $300 ones we don't see quite as much as we meant to, just because these first cruises, people are itching to go. And so those prices are already creeping up a little bit on those close-in ones. But absolutely, every once in a while you can get away. You can find those deals.
But I want you to tell the viewers and the listeners and all why it's important to call Patrick Walker rather than just going online to Travelocity or whatever at those places, because you may be able to do some special things for them.
Well, first of all, thank you for that question. That's a great question. For the person that already found the exact cruise they want, it costs nothing extra. So I'll do all the paperwork for you. And then, so I like to say, I do all the work, you have all the fun. And then a lot of times I can save you money. We have, with the name Expedia, that carries some clout in the industry. And so our corporate headquarters holds 10,000 cabins at any one given time across the year and a half in the future. And those prices are protected. So you can go to royalcaribbean.com, so to speak, and come to me, and I'll be $600 cheaper every once in a while. So that's kind of fun when that happens.
And trust me, I know that, because I've gone to some of those sites and seen that it's almost like like the grocery store hook, where they'll tell you, a gallon of milk is only 99 cents a gallon, and you walk into the grocery store for the 99-cent gallon milk, but you walk out with $50 or $100 worth of groceries. It's a way to get you in there. So if you see that you can cruise in the Caribbean on a particular ship, and I won't name names of some of the cruise lines, but they've got this special that's really sounds dirt cheap, and then they give you 50% off on the second passenger in the cabin. There's usually something that is hiding back there that they're not telling you about.
Right. And
Or
another thing,
they only have one cabin, and then when you say I want that cabin, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's gone." But we have these other cabins available.
yeah, every once in a while that actually does happen. We'll grab some group space, and those lead-in cabins will sell out, and then sometimes they aren't available. But absolutely, that definitely happens. And another neat thing about travel agents, if you're a little confused about the complexity, one ship may have 28 different cabin types. Your Aunt Sally may went on a cruise ship that she said was amazing, but she wants to read a book, and somebody else wants to hear calypso music by the pool. So getting to know your customer and what would be the best vacation for them too is also a plus.
Yeah, and I have not been able to do it yet, but I always wanted to go on a themed cruise. Sometimes that they have themed cruises for people that want to learn how to cook. They want lecture series, jazz cruises, rock and roll cruises, and all. And you could spend all day Googling to try and find those, or you could spend one phone call to Patrick Walker and say, what kind of themed cruises are there out there that are available in 2022 or 2023? And you'll come up with the answers.
Yeah. And one thing along with the theme cruise, if you're part of a group that does anything, basket weaving, underwater, just anything, and you want to put together a group, I can help you do that as well. And sometimes there's some savings if you put together a group.
That's interesting. I really wasn't aware of that. So,
Yeah.
you got a special, well, I do know for a fact that you have worked with some veterans organizations and all, and putting together cruises for American Legion or VFW and some of those groups. So yeah, that's a great.
A nonprofit. We raised, I believe I recall, $1,600 for the local American Legion. So that was kind of fun.
And I think there's even programs, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there may be programs that if you can get 10 or 12 of your closest friends to book on a cruise, it may be very advantageous for you and your cabin, with some extra special, incentives for you from Patrick for putting together that group of 10 or 12 people to go on the same cruise and party together for a week.
Oh, absolutely. Back to the basket weaving. If you're the head basket weaver and you want to cruise for free, just you get all your other basket weaving friends to go, and then if it's enough people, you can go for free.
Oh, free? It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
All right. So now, for the person that's listening or watching and saying, I just really don't care for the water. I don't care for cruising. What other kind of vacation options are there out there?
First of all, there's a ton. Second of all, I'll stick up for cruising a little bit. If you've cruised and you don't like it, that's one thing. If you haven't, do a 4 or 5 day one to see if it's for you. Because in my opinion, they're just a ton of fun. People worried about running out of stuff to do. Don't worry, there's more to do than there is time.
Right.
But all inclusives were kind of hot lately. Pardon the pun, because down in Mexico, because they're easy. The flights were a few months ago very affordable. Flights right now are just insanely fluctuating. So flights are a little frustrating right now, but all inclusives are nice. The Machu Picchu or land tours in Europe, river cruises in Europe are always amazing. You don't feel like you're on a boat, even though the boat's what's moving you around.
Explain to people, what is an all-inclusive?
Oh, great question. It's a resort, and typically they're just beautiful, and they're on the beach. It's all the food you can drink, all the drinks you can drink, alcoholic drinks, and it's basically 3-day weekend, a 7-day week, just sitting by the pool, sitting by the ocean, going to restaurants and having a couple drinks. And it's just a great way to relax. To me, that's more of a relaxing trip than a cruise, but A lot of them have nightlives and parties, so you can do that as well.
And that means that every time you order a drink or something like that, you don't have to sign something and be disturbed.
Oh,
And all usually tips and everything are already figured. It's a package deal. You just go and it's like you're home away from home.
oh yeah, it's really nice. Not it's a put the wallet in the safe and you're done. Till it's time to check out. Then you sadly pull it out of the safe and head back home. But yeah, there's it's
And buy
really
a few
nice. That's
souvenirs at the airport before you leave to go home.
that's right. Got to buy that vanilla from Mexico is what I always come home with.
Uh-huh. I know that one of the names that pops into my head, Sandals. They've been an all-inclusive resort company for years and years, and you work closely with them.
Absolutely. Oddly enough, I'm having lunch with the Sandals representative today. They, in my opinion, are the top of the line as far as all inclusives. Just all over the Caribbean, amazing. You know, the high end food, the high end liquor. It's amazing service, butler service in a lot of the rooms. It's just that's the best of the best, and I finally got to experience that a few months back in Turks and Caicos, and so that was an amazing experience.
Well, having been a veteran of the Coast Guard for how many years?
27.
27 years. Well, thank you for your service. What
Oh,
was it, that service in the Coast Guard that kind of registered in your head that, ma'am, I think I'd like to maybe make water my career. So maybe I'd like to go into the cruise business.
oddly enough, no. And when I was in the Coast Guard, the water scared me. I was on C-130, so I stayed above the water.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, but it does make for a good story.
Yeah.
And when we're leaving port, I always like to look down and wave at the Coast Guard guys.
So what is your background? Did you start out in the travel industry or the hospitality industry?
Oh, that's another great question. I went from working fast food Jack in the Box to the Coast Guard to buying this. Travel experience and business experience, neither one. I talked to a franchise coach like Irving, and we answered and talked back and forth, and it seemed like a good fit. And here I am. The only thing he neglected to do is warn me that in 2 years after I opened it, COVID would show up. But I guess I can't blame him for that.
But that's in the rearview mirror now.
Absolutely.
And it's probably safe to say that it's coming back with a vengeance right now because people are saying, I feel comfortable. I've saved up all that money for a year and a half. Now I've got something to invest in a nice cruise and a getaway and do it. And I want to piggyback on something you said earlier, or actually I said earlier, for people that might be afraid of water. There are some ships out there, and one comes to mind is like the Oasis from Royal Caribbean and the Odyssey and all. These are floating cities. You would not know, except if you looked out the window and saw the water, that you were really on a boat because it is so stable. And as I say, restaurants, shops, entertainment. It's a floating hotel for a week. And when I lived in South Florida, it was great. Lauren and I were there for 20 years, and being in South Florida, any weekend we could just call up and get on a cruise ship and go out of Miami or Fort Lauderdale very, very easily. And when we could get away, very often we would get on the same ship with the same destinations. I encourage people, don't be afraid of that. If you can get away and you say, oh, well, I've already been to those ports. You know what? You don't have to get off the ship. If you don't really want to walk around the port, or maybe it's drizzling out, there are so many things to do to take advantage of on the ship. We had been to Nassau, I can't tell you how many times, to the point where we passed it. Stay on board, go into the hot tub, go, walk around the decks and enjoy what's going on. Cruising used to be something that only people that had lots of money would do.
Right.
It was a luxury 20 to 30 years ago and all. Now it has become such an affordable alternative, even to getting in the car and driving cross country with the cost of food and lodging and gas. You can get on
Yeah,
a cruise ship and forget about everything.
the food is a big one. If you're going to eat a steak dinner with a family of four, that's a couple $100, and the whole cruise might cost you $200 a day in a nice cabin. So the costs, it's actually a good savings, and the entertainment. I probably wouldn't pay to take my family to a Broadway show every night if I was in New York, but on a cruise ship, it's included every night. So yeah, it's a great value for a family vacation or just a couples getaway.
And on a lot of those cruise ships, the shows that they have are Broadway style shows.
I forgot to mention something. You mentioned how the big Oasis of the Sea, Galveston's getting an Oasis class ship in November of next year. And the second I was up at midnight that they released that sailing, I grabbed a lot of group space so I can beat prices online for November 27th next year on that thing.
All right.
Of 2022. I'm sorry, 2022.
I want you to say that again because I think it's important for people to hear that.
Okay.
And that's a great ship too, by the way.
Yeah. Galveston is getting an Oasis class ship, which is the biggest on the ocean, November of 2022. And I'm excited about it. So I was up at midnight when they released the inventory and grabbed a bunch of space. And so I wrote it down. On a balcony, I can save you $665 over what's online.
That's considerable savings.
I didn't run the numbers. I'm going to say 30-40% discount.
I mean, that's almost $100 a day on a week cruise.
Yeah.
And that's about 15 months away, folks. So, plan now, get the savings in November of 22.
Yeah. And they've done studies. Booking a cruise actually brings you happiness, even though you haven't taken the trip yet. So you'll have 15 months of happiness.
The phone number's on the screen. Use it because I have to talk to Lauren about that one. We may have to do that. And for a ship that size to go out of Galveston, great for all of the folks that are, in the southern central part of the country, because
right, absolutely.
A few hours away to drive there to the port and get on the ship. I didn't realize that Galveston was a big enough port to handle a ship that size.
It's not. They are busily hammering away. They started last month building a new terminal.
And wait till you see that ship in this port with all the other ships. All those other little ships are going to look like little tugboats next to this Oasis class ship.
Galveston's doing really well in the cruise industry. Carnival's up in their game with the hardware they're bringing. Royal Caribbean's obviously bringing it. Norwegian's bringing a ship not to stay, but to stop by and say hello. We're pretty excited about that.
Well, and that's great because that takes a lot of the pressure off of the ports of Tampa and Fort Lauderdale and Miami, even LA and New York and around the country, and balances it out a little bit for more people to be able to cruise.
Yeah, it's from Frisco, it's a 4.5-hour drive. If you do the weekend cruises, the week-long cruises, they go on Saturday or Sunday, so you don't have to worry about Dallas or Houston traffic, knock on wood.
I want to depart from the cruise industry for just a little bit because I know that there are other vacation possibilities. One of them is I think we probably have forgotten that we have a rail system here in America that offers some rail travel that's really impressive.
I haven't done a whole lot, but absolutely, I've done the training. Amtrak Vacations is a big one, and Rocky Mountaineer is famous in Canada. They moved a train down to Denver, so that's kind of exciting.
And I understand. I haven't taken advantage of it yet, but the food service on rail travel and all is pretty good too.
Absolutely, it definitely can be. And rail in Europe's kind of fun. A lot of people forget about that. There's just a ton of gorgeous and famous rail in Europe as well.
Are bus tours still have any popularity? The old Greyhound and Trailways days?
For me, bus tours we have tours, 4 or 5 companies that do tours all over the world, in the US, in Europe, South America, and they've upped their game. It's no longer, get up, eat a makeshift breakfast. The buses have less seats. They have Wi-Fi. If you're going to the Louvre, you skip the line because the tickets, the Vatican, they get the skip the line tickets there. cruise that's 6 or 7 days in Alaska, they make it nice. It's a package price with the cruise and all the lodgings. It's very seamless, so you don't have to worry about catching a cab once you get off the cruise. Somebody's there with the bus to pick you up to take you to the train, and there's multiple options to do that.
That's why when you're dealing with somebody like Patrick and who has all the cards in front of him, he knows which cards to play. Also, it depends on whether you are a family of four, with a couple of small children, or you're senior citizens like myself. That Patrick can say, I don't know if I would recommend that cruise line or that cruise, those destinations, because I think they're maybe a little more desirable for a different age category. I would suggest this, and this for you to consider.
Absolutely. That's one of the benefits of using an agent, that hopefully they ask you the right questions. That's the way I was trained and the way I like doing it. It's kind of a neat when you think you found somebody the perfect vacation for them.
How long you been doing this?
Just over 5 years.
About 5 years. I know going back, I've known people that have been in the travel business, and the travel industry used to offer familiarization tours for travel agents. Are those still available? Do you go on familiarization tours?
I'm in a couple all inclusives, but it's not as fun as it sounds. So we were touring resorts for 6 hours a day. We did get a free hotel and some drinks and dinner at night. And from what I understand, it used to be a lot better than it is now, but there's some opportunity. And knowing the industry, like that cruise I wanted to take out of Galveston, I saved a decent amount of money by booking it right when I knew the price was going to be the lowest. And since you brought up discounted travel, we are in the market for agents. We need a few more travel agents. We lost some during the COVID pandemic, so we are shopping for agents.
Very good. Well, again, we'll put up the website and more importantly, the phone number. And if you said, you know what, I'm tired of flipping burgers and everything, and I'd like to maybe get into the travel business, maybe there's an opportunity for you to work directly with Patrick Walker. By the way, when you go on any of these trips and everything, do you take your family with you?
Well, it sounds weird. We used to take family vacations in a car and that's it. Now that I'm in this industry, I do one trip with the wife. That's normally a cruise, an all-inclusive with the wife, a family cruise, and then our corporate conferences on a cruise. I'm traveling a whole lot more than I used to.
And now when you say you go on a family cruise, how big is your family, Patrick?
Well, okay, that's a great question. My definition of family cruise now is only 3 kids. We have 7, but the 4 older ones are out of the house now. We do want to get everybody. We do want to get everybody on a cruise. We just haven't managed to do it yet. There's a lot of logistics with people living all over the place.
And I'm sure the older ones that are out of the house are saying, I'll be happy to go on the family cruise again, even though I'm out of the house.
Exactly.
But 7 kids. Oh, wow. That trying to control 7 kids on a cruise might take a little bit of the fun away from the cruise.
However, restaurants.
However, we should tell people that's one of the beauties of a cruise ship too. If you've got little ones, they've got their own setup for the kids, where the kids report in the morning to their own age group, where they interact with people that take care of them, so mom and dad can really relax. And the kids usually don't even want to come back to the cabin. They want to stay and play all day and maybe just come back to eat and go to bed and then start all over again the next day.
That's a great point. They make lifelong friends. The teen groups, my kids always make friends there. The younger ones, like you're saying, and it's not like babysitting where they're in front of a TV. It's highly trained professionals, activities. If they're not the littlest ones, but the older ones, you'll see them run around the ship doing scavenger hunts. It's very activity focused.
Yeah, and if you're into sports, they've got all kinds of sporting events and everything going on for teens. The Wave Runner programs that they got on the ships, the miniature golf, rock climbing. I would,
Go-karts.
go karts. You're right. Zip lines. They got zip lines on some of the ships too. It's incredible.
Yeah, there's just, like you said, there's just a ton to do, and it's for the people that think they're going to be bored on a cruise ship. They don't realize they're thinking 30 years ago.
That's right. Yeah, you just go to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you go to a lecture, and you go to a show in the evening, and that's it. The shopping on the ships is incredible. You can not only just have all your meals in the dining room, but they usually have a variety of other restaurants on the ships that you can, if you decide I want Italian tonight or I want some special seafood, you got those options too.
Yeah, a lot of the big cruise ships have upwards of 20 places to eat, more than you can do in a week. I give it a shot, but more than you can typically get to in a week. I cannot hear Stuart anymore.
There, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Here
Now.
we go. Okay, I must have pushed a button at my end. I posed the question that other than I know Alaska has always been a desirable a trip, and still some of the Caribbean. But what are some of the hot spots that you're finding to recommend to some of the people that want to cruise?
Well, like you said, Alaska's hot. Galveston for this area is hot because they have good hardware and it's easy to get to. European river cruises are hot, and actually the best quote unquote, no, it's not quote, the best sale I've ever seen is actually for a river cruise this year, short notice, on Uniworld, which is super high end. It's truly half price, but it's like one day only, and that day's today. So if anyone wants to take a river cruise this year, give me a call.
Well, we did go out of Galveston a little while back, and went to Honduras and Belize, and all which are ports that we had never been to when we had gone out of some of the Florida ports.
Right.
I mean, and people can also be selective to go east, west, or southern Caribbean on some of those cruises. So you can go every year and go to different ports, and that I think is encouraged.
Right. The Caribbean has a lot of different places to go. To get to the southern, a lot of times you have to fly to Miami or San Juan, or take a longer 9, 10, 11-day cruise, which is not a bad thing at all.
Right. Now, I went to you. You occasionally have seminars, and people again contact Patrick if you want to get on his mailing list. He'll invite you to some of these seminars that are run by either some of the cruise ship companies, or sometimes it's a local seminar that features various cruise ship lines as well as land services. There was one that I saw that was very, very unique, and I can't remember how to pronounce the name of the cruise ship line. It's Dutch, I think, or Scandinavian. Hagen something or another.
Hergergren?
Hergen, that's the one.
Yeah.
And you talk about a deal. They got a deal, I think, to go see the Northern Lights. And you book that cruise to go see the Northern Lights. And if for any reason, while you're on that cruise that week and you don't see the Northern Lights, they book you for another one free.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unheard of. That's almost worth it to book something like that. But having said that, is Iceland and Scandinavia and all still really, really popular spots for people from America to visit?
Iceland has been hot for a couple of years now, other than the last 15 months. A cruise in the Baltic is actually very, very neat. You're going to spend 2 days in St. Petersburg, Russia, You're going to see 7, 8, 9 countries. That's just a really neat cruise.
And the Mediterranean, I highly recommend too for those that have seen all they want to see, maybe around North or South America, because the Greek islands, there is so much history and so much to do there. My wife and I are absolutely totally in love with Santorini, and we've been there a couple of times. But a Greek cruise through the Greek islands, fascinating cruising.
Oh, absolutely. It's always been popular. It's a great place to be. Croatia is kind of becoming popular as well now too.
And now again, we've mentioned lots of destination places and all. Are there deals to go to a lot of those various destinations?
One of the best things with deals is if you're a little flexible. If you want to see Alaska and you can go late in the season, um, or if you can move it, hey, I have a group, but you just can go next week, we can save you money. So flexibility sometimes is one of the better ways to get a good deal. And a lot of times it just happens. I want to go on this cruise. Yeah, it's a good deal.
Cruising still the best bang for your buck?
I'm going to have to say yes. I enjoyed the 4 or 5 days of recharging, sitting by the pool, all inclusive. But bang for the buck, just the amount of entertainment, food, it's just an all around good time. And I have my rule on the cruise is I won't use elevators, so my legs are always sore by day 2, but by the end, I felt like I got a little exercise.
Well, you got to get some exercise because you got to work off all that food that you're packing away.
Oh, yeah.
And my tip of the day for anybody that is going to go on a cruise, make sure you take some sweatpants with you or something with an elastic band. Because I guarantee some of your clothing is probably not going to fit at the end of the week.
The 2 years ago on April 1st, Carnival put out a April Fool's Facebook post that they were going to weigh people before and after, and that's how they were going to charge them for the cruise. And
oh,
a
really?
few people were like, "What?"
Great idea.
Yeah, that's pretty good marketing.
Well, it is fascinating. Thankfully, everybody can now say that we are far enough beyond COVID and the pandemic that we now can pack our bags and get ready to go someplace. And if you want to do it on your own and sit there and try and book this hotel and that hotel and this destination and that, go right ahead. But if you want to make it easy, get in touch with my friend Patrick Walker, because his consultation is it costs you zero. But trust me, he will give you enough information that if you don't want to book today, you will walk out at least with enough information to say that when you're ready, you can cut through all the red tape and just call him and say, okay, I'm ready. I want to go here. But again, Patrick, would you encourage people, especially because you can now book late into 2022 and even into 2023, that the earlier that you reserve those cabins now, the more money you can save a year and a half from now?
And the more money, the better choices. If stuff starts to sell out, there's really no downside. And you don't pay for the whole cruise up front. So you can make payments. And if you wanted to try something nicer, a suite or something like that, you have a year and a half to make payments.
And I think it's safe to say that if there is an opportunity for an upgrade, you're going to find it for people.
Yeah, the opportunity for an upgrade. And also a lot of times people will go online and they see the least expensive balcony, and I'm like, $20 more, I can get you a better location on the ship. So that's not even a big upgrade, and they're going to be happier with the location on the ship.
Well, that's why it's good to use Expedia Cruises and call Patrick Walker, and he'll take good care of you, or he'll have one of his trained professionals right there. And again, as Patrick said earlier, if you think that maybe you'd like to spend some time, part-time, full-time, working in a great travel agency, give Patrick a call.
Absolutely. And thank you very much.
All right, then, and we had the address and the phone number earlier. And Mark, if you can get it back on the screen for one last shot so people can see it, that'd be great. There it is. I can't thank you enough for sharing the time with me, Patrick. Appreciate it very, very much. And I'll see you at some of the other veterans things. Again, thank you for your service to the country. And that'll do it for another edition of Something to Talk About. Hope you'll come back and join us right here again at the same time next week. Until then, be good to yourself and each other. Bye.